Just while we're warming up, I might just thank Matthew, who's graciously offered his company Zoom account to run our meeting. So,
thank you, Matthew.
Thanks, Matthew. He'll be recording it and doing all that stuff, technical stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Michelsons.
Oh,
Yes,
there's
right.
Doug,
Oh, hi, Loretta.
the big D.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Dougie.
Hello, everyone.
Just
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Grace. Hi, I can hear you now.
Hello, Grace.
just another bit of housekeeping too. For those who are new to Zoom, you may not be aware that there's two views you can get. One's called a speaker view, and it just shows the main person speaking and some thumbnails down the side of all the others. And the other view is called gallery view. If you click on gallery view, you'll get everybody on the screen in little thumbnails. So if you do that, you'll see everybody on there. So that's just up on the
Yeah, I like that.
top right-hand corner if you're on a laptop.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure where it is.
I've got everyone
Like an
on
extended Brady Bunch.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. I was too. The Brady Bunch.
So that's it.
Matthew and John, have you tried that space bar thing?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I'm trying it right now. It works.
Yeah, so that's another bit of housekeeping. If you want to, instead of pressing your mute button all the time, if you just mute it, and when you want to speak, just hit the space bar on your keypad and hold it down while you talk, and then you release it and you'll go back to mute. Peter?
John, how are you? All right.
Good.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Peter.
Peter.
I'm here.
Yep.
Hi. The full house.
Good, yeah.
Hasn't seen the Michelson yet. Where is it?
Look who's here.
I'm not too sure when our guests of honour will appear, but we might just get going anyway because we don't want to have these meetings going too long and people start to nod off. So I welcome everyone here. I'll just mute you for the moment. Where are we?
Later. 30 seconds.
And just a few announcements to make. Upcoming events, you might be interested to know that the meeting that we've got tonight has been set up. The number to get into the meeting is now our meeting number for all future meetings. So you use the same number to go to a board meeting or a club meeting. So that's just made it pretty easy for everyone. Our next meeting of any consequence is our board meeting on the 11th of May. That's at 7 o'clock. Anyone's free to join that. We'll be having our incoming board members attend that meeting as well. So we'll have the old and the new board, although a fair few of the old board will be on the new board as well. Our meeting on the 13th of May is the next one, and we've got something special lined up for that. It's so special, I don't know what it is yet, but it's very special. Also we found out during the week that the district assembly, which is held every year, usually over at Tabcorp at Melton, will be an online assembly this year on the 24th of May, which is a Sunday. And we encourage all the new board members to go to that. Anybody else is free to go to it as well. It's going to be an interesting exercise. There'll be quite a few hundred people attending that. So that'll be
Going to be 4 hours, 5 hours long?
Well, I don't know how long it's going on for, but it has gone that long in the past. And on the 24th of June, we've got our club changeover, which will also be online. And that's something we've never done before. And we've had some tips from Stephen, who we met at one of our previous meetings, from Stephen Sennett from the E Club of Melbourne of how to run an online changeover. So that's going to be interesting.
Mm.
We've also got the district changeover coming up on the 27th of June. There was a district transmission before this meeting tonight for those who might have tuned in. The Essential Services Commissioner, Crisp, was the guest speaker on there. They have been having district meetings twice a week, but they'll be ramping that back to only probably a Sunday morning with the district governor. Now, committee announcements I'll go through very quickly. We've had an approach by Melbourne South Rotary for a joint project that we've signed up for. It's to prepare some care packs for Alfred Hospital patients, those who are, I guess, presenting without any personal goods or quite often any decent clothes. So it's a bit like the work that Carol's been doing at getting clothes over there, and it's a bit like the dignity bags as well. So we've applied for a district grant of $9,000 and we're going to match that. Melbourne South has a benefactor already prepared to put $9,000 in. So we're going to have a starting off of $18,000. That'll run for probably a year, and we'll be invited to participate in that. So we may be involved in putting the packs together or sourcing some of the items for it. DIK is going to get involved with it as well. So that's something new. So things are still happening behind the scenes. That's about the most recent information I've got of what we're on to. So I think most people know our Timor project with Soul Smiles is on hold, and the African one is as well. Have you got any updates at all, Matthew, on that one?
Not really. For South Africa, Rotary Club of Newlands is still working with the lady who runs the Educare Centre, and they're coming up with a plan for when. Hang on, just getting some feedback.
Yep.
Oh, the Invisible Man.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, we're on two computers here.
Yeah.
So Newlands in South Africa are working with Namondi, who runs the project, to look at what they do with their funding. With Winds of Hope in Uganda, we're still fundraising to pay for school fees for next term, hoping that they reopen by that point, but it's still a little bit early at this point.
Okay.
And we've sent food packages or funding for food across to Uganda recently for quite a number of our people. Most countries in Africa are in lockdown and a lot stricter than we are here.
Yep. Okay. Just welcome Leon. Leon, welcome to the meeting. What's your interest in the club, Leon? Hang on.
Maybe unmute myself. I actually saw the details about the speaker, and I thought I wouldn't mind listening to her, and maybe hear some more.
Okay. Great. Thanks,
Leon.
Leon. Well, welcome to our meeting.
Yep.
I had contact with our guest speaker, Ros, this afternoon by email. So as far as I know, she's aware of our timetable and what we've got on. But she may be just waiting till we finish this bit of the meeting. So I'll just press on anyway. iCare. I think most people are aware that Jenny Grebler's husband passed away, Henry, a week or so ago, and we've sent a card to Jenny, and I think Mary and Helen will be organising a plant of some sort for her from the club. So Henry was I think you probably may know them, Loretta and Henry. They were, he was a member for quite a few years, and I know Jenny was a member for 10 years till 2017, but she's still pretty active with the books over at the college. So that's the only sort of eye care I've got. Has anybody heard of anybody else who may be unwell at the moment? I think we should all be pretty well, seeing we're not going near anyone. I think the overall health of everyone should be a lot better. Now,
Are you there?
yep.
We heard of the passing of Robert McDonald, who was an ex-president of Port Melbourne Rotary.
Oh, yep.
And she
Yep.
passed away the other morning.
Yeah.
Or how many people in the club know have known her. She was a past president a few years ago. She was the president of Port Melbourne Rotary.
Yeah. Your audio is not all that good, Loretta. Can you speak up a bit?
Robert McDonald, she was
That's
the
better.
president of Port Melbourne Rotary. She passed away the other morning. So I'm not sure if any of the members would know her. I'm sure some of the members would have known her as being the president of the Port Melbourne Rotary.
Yeah.
So for those of you who did know her, you might like to know that.
Yeah.
What's her name, Loretta?
Robert McDonald. He was a Port Melbourne Rotary member.
Past president.
Past president. He passed away this week. I think we heard from Kevin Beagle on Monday night at the cluster meeting. So yeah, heard about that. Birthdays. Oh, anybody got any comment? No. Birthdays. Carol.
I've just sent an
hang
SMS
on.
to Roz.
Yep.
She hasn't got back to me. I just sent an SMS. We're waiting for her to sign on, so hopefully it's okay.
Yep.
She's already signed on. She's down the bottom of the.
Oh, there she is. Hello, Roz. Give Roz a wave, everyone. we're nearly finished, Roz. So we'll have you on front and centre very shortly.
Okay.
Carol, birthdays, anniversaries. Carol?
Thank you for turning me on, John.
That's all right.
I'm having trouble hearing a lot of the others tonight. I can hear you and Liz clearly, but not anyone else so far.
Okay.
I don't know if the others are having the same problem. Anyway, we do have a birthday. We've got Nance next Wednesday. She has a birthday on the 6th of May. So happy birthday, Nance. Then we have joining Rotary Albert Park, Carolyn. On May the 2nd, she will be with us for 2 years. So congratulations, Carolyn. And that's it.
Okay. Thanks, Carol. Is anybody...
I've got a couple of things to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Raylene.
Okay, so there's a website called Angel Next Door that I thought a lot of our Rotarians might like to register with. And it's a community website during crisis period. So it was started during the bushfires and it's operating now. And it's all done in confidence, but you can either register to seek any sort of help, or you can register to actually help, provide help. So you don't have to say, you know, what you want to offer. You can just say, yes, I'm prepared to help if I'm able to. And so they send you emails. I think it might be done geographically or something. I'm not quite sure how they decide which emails they'll send to you, but they send you an email and you can see what the person is requesting. And then you can, if you think you can help them, then you can log in and actually, you know, talk to them and work out what you can do. So there are all sorts of requests. Grace, you were waving. Are you involved as well in that? Unmute her, John.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you can unmute yourself. Go ahead.
I'm the angel next door.
Oh, she is too. Next door to me. Yeah, I've had quite a few requests come through, but I haven't actually been able to assist anybody yet. A lot of them were looking for jobs, but there are all sorts of requests. You know, somebody just wanted bread one day, and you know, someone else wanted hand sanitizer. You know, things like that they weren't able to get, but they've been quite a distance from me, and somebody's always helped them before I could get to them anyway.
Yeah.
So it's called Angel Next Door. All you have to do is Google it, and then, you know, register if you want to help people. Yeah. And the other thing that I'm really interested in setting up is, I think they call it a community blessing box. And a group have done this in Sydney, actually. It was just a group of women that were share housing. So what they did was repurposed an old cupboard and put it on the corner of two streets, and they've stocked it with all kinds of pantry items. And then they asked for help, you know, because it was open to anyone who needed assistance with getting food or other sorts of supermarket type items. And it all went very quickly. So then they started asking their local community. And now lots of little businesses have got involved as well, and they take charge of you know, making sure that everything's sort of neat and tidy, and also restocking it. And people just bring the stuff there, you know, that they don't have to receive it or anything like that. So I thought that would be a really good thing to do in Albert Park and Port Melbourne. And I'm just wondering if there's anybody who's interested in getting involved with me. I'll probably talk to the council, probably the mayor actually. She only lives up the street, Bernadine. So I'll talk to her, and maybe Port Melbourne Rotary as well. So they might be able to set one within Port Melbourne. And, you know, I thought we could do one in Albert Park. And I'm thinking maybe even in Gasworks could be a good place, but, you know, I'll take advice on that. So if anyone's interested in getting involved with me, can you just message me or give me an email?
There's, I know there's a lot of organisations doing very similar things. I'm a bit reluctant to go out at all, let alone...
Well, that's all right, but there are some of us that I
yeah.
get out every day anyway. Like I'm out walking twice a day, every day.
Yeah, well,
I'm doing our supermarket shopping, so
yeah,
you know, I'm very happy to get extra items to be able to put them into, you know, a community pantry. And I thought there might be some other people that want to get involved with me, even just setting it up. And even if you don't want to actually be involved in stocking it, just getting it set up in the first place.
Okay, we've got little bookshops little bookstores everywhere as well, that people have got in their front yard. So
yeah,
so it's along the same lines, I guess, as that.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah.
Except obviously it'd have to be a lot bigger than.
Yes,
a little
big as a 40-foot container, I would say, to deal with the demand.
They've just got like it's a standard size sort of pantry. And now there've been quite a few others in Sydney that have set up as well.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else with any announcements or any ideas they've got? We're looking at sort of fundraising opportunities as well. It's not even now, but in the future. And if Captain Tom Moore can raise 56 million walking up and down his backyard, I think anything's possible. Vicky.
Hi all. I just had a happy moment actually. My 9-year-old mother came out of lockdown today at her retirement village, so I saw her for the first time in about 4.5 weeks, and it was great.
Yeah. How old's your mum, Vicky?
95.
Wow, that's an achievement. Fantastic.
I got to do her dishes and put her rubbish out.
Okay. All right, we might move on now and hear from Ros. So, Liz, do you want to do an intro? I'll unmute you and we can put, where are we? Hang on.
We're there. Are we there? Or do I need to press down?
Yeah.
Or are we okay?
No, you're on. You're on the air.
Okay, I'm on, everyone. Okay, welcome, everyone. I won't do too much of an introduction, but I'd like to introduce Ros Ben Mosh, is that your right name? Sorry there, Ros. Welcome to Rotary Albert Park. We're looking forward to having some laughter in our life. And without any further ado, please welcome Ros, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. So yes, I'm Ros Ben Moshe and I'm adjunct lecturer at La Trobe University in the School of Psychology and Public Health, and also director of Laugh Life Wellbeing programs. And I specialise in, I'm just going to make it so I can see everybody else. It's much more interesting than looking at my own face. I specialise in programs to help create a positive mindset. So, especially at times like we've been going through, it's very easy to sort of go on a bit of a downward spiral and let all of the negative emotions get to us and let the news get to us, which is very natural. And it's important, I suppose, to have the resources within ourselves to know when we have to sort of step back a little bit and recognise that, you know, if we're exposed to too much negativity, it impacts on our physiology. So just like, you know, we have stress hormones that are released, you know, when bad things happen, we also have what's called happy hormones. So things like endorphins and dopamine when we're sort of tuned in to things that sort of the good in our life. So tonight I thought I might just have a little bit of a chat to you about this notion of positivity resilience and perhaps some of the skills that we can grasp onto to help guide us through challenging times, not just the one that we're going through now. And thankfully and hopefully, Australia has seen, you know, the worst of it, unlike other parts of the world. So I think it's at times like this, it's you know, we cannot control what goes on in our external circumstances. That's just something we can't control. But we can always choose how we respond. And we can either choose to respond, you know, through that sort of lens of anxiety and fear and, you know, as I say, go on that downward spiral, or we can choose a different way and actually try and focus on things that perhaps are going well in our day and grow the good in our day. So the notion of positivity resilience, I mean, you've all got an understanding of what resilience is. And if I was to unmute you all now, I would imagine that most of you would sort of say, yeah, well, it's to bounce back from adversity. Am I right? Yeah, so bouncing back. Okay. So positivity resilience is slightly different, and it's not about bouncing back. It's about how do we bounce forward? And how do we actually open up to, you know, new possibilities and perhaps gaining some new meaning and purpose from, you know, the particular challenge that we're going through, because we don't necessarily want to go back to the way things were. And I'm not just talking about COVID-19 things. I'm also talking about, you know, times in your life when you go through various challenges. You know, sometimes going back to the way things were is not necessarily the solution. So how can we bounce forward? And the whole notion of positivity, it's interesting. Positivity actually has a lot of negative connotations. I don't know if you found that. So, you know, I don't know whether any of you, when I sort of mentioned positivity, you might have thought, oh my gosh, no, don't go there. It's like, we don't want to be positive. You know, it's too hard. It's like, it's not sincere. It's not real. And I think it's really important to understand that positivity resilience is an action. It's an active notion. It's not about wishing things to be a particular way and just sort of, yes, I want to be positive, therefore I am positive, and I'm going to suppress any negative feelings that I have. It's more, how can we actually orient our brain towards noticing what is going well in our life and growing that capacity. So there are many ways in which we can do that. One of the simplest is actually a gratitude practice, and many of you might already have a gratitude practice in your daily lives. And I loved, I can't recall who mentioned it, about that community blessing box. I think that's a perfect example of gratitude in action, where people are, really, that provision. The reason why I talk about positivity resilience and it being a skill, a resource, is because negativity in the brain is something that is just far more readily accessible. We learn better from negative experiences, and thank goodness we do. Otherwise, we would be having far more accidents and injuries and doing far more stupid things than because that is the best way the brain learns. But what we need to understand is that positive emotions are equally as powerful, but they don't seem to have as long a lasting legacy in our brain. So if I can give you a visual image, if you can imagine that negativity in the brain is like Velcro, it's really sticky. It's like, everything sticks to it. Whereas positivity in the brain is more like Teflon. Positive experiences, they just, yeah, that was a nice thing that happened. It just slips right off. Because half the time we walk around taking things for granted. We don't pay attention to the really things that, just the ordinary things in our life that actually are going well. So in order to, I suppose, to help orient your brain towards, creating neural pathways that are directed towards more joy and more goodness, it's important to pay attention to some of the good things that are going on. So in this time that we're going through, with so many challenges and people, in self-isolation and having to navigate a whole new norm, online Rotary meetings, for example, it's very easy to sort of just keep focusing on all of the challenges, all of the stresses that we're going through. But if you start opening up to the small things in your day that have gone well, and if you start paying attention to them, the more your brain will automatically start noticing them. So I'm not talking about anything too radical. And as our worlds have become so much smaller, we need to sort of dig a little bit deeper. And it could be just things like, you shared a nice cup of tea with your partner, or you had a nice conversation with someone, or you had a nice walk in the park and it was you really enjoyed just being outside for a change. And the more that you do that, the more you're actually training your brain, as I say, to notice the good thing. And your brain can't actually process two opposing emotions at the same time. So we can't be in a negative mindset at the same time that we're in a positive mindset. So while we've got this, what's called this inbuilt negativity bias, we're always looking out for danger. We're always looking out for threat. And as I say, that is for a good reason. Us as human beings wouldn't have survived as long as we had. We'd be like the dinosaurs. We would be extinct. But in order to counter this inbuilt negativity bias, we need to find ways in our day that we can bring to mind, as I say, the good things, these micro moments of joy. And the more micro moments of joy you have in your day, over time, the happier you will feel. So, say for example, I think in Australia, as I say, we're so fortunate that we haven't had those, that trajectory that we thought we might go, through, similar to Italy or, as the UK have been going down. But even so, watching the news and watching, tapping into our global world and seeing how our world has changed, and not for the better, with a lot of grief and a lot of loss And that's not just in terms of physical loss, it's in terms of loss of our freedom, loss of our movement. You know, we can't just decide to go to our favorite restaurant. We can't just decide to hop on a plane and go to the other side of the world. It means that we need to actually take charge of how we fill our days and what we fill them with. So I don't know how many of you, if we could have a show of hands, have any of you sort of been invested in a new project or something since this time has been going on? Okay, I'm going to unmute you if you don't mind, Grace. If I can I unmute you? Or can you unmute yourself, Grace, please?
Right
Thank you.
right.
No, go back. Yes, perfect.
Okay.
What's your new project?
Made bread for the first time. It's not very exciting, but yeah, I've been baking bread.
But that's an achievement. I think that's great. That is great. I mean, you know, and I'm sure that you must have had a sense of meaning and purpose. It's like, it's just a loaf of bread, but it's not. It's a loaf of bread that you made with your very own hands.
Yes.
Managed to somehow get flour for in the supermarket. That's a big achievement. Who else has sort of taken this time? Okay, Liz, do you mind unmuting yourself?
I'll do it.
No. Again, yes.
You're right now.
I'm right now?
You are.
Okay. What I've done is I've cleaned out all Loretta's room. It's all gone. And all my home office is all gone. I gave it away to a charity. And I'm doing a massive cleanup in this whole house. I'm decluttering first time in 14 years. It's a huge project, but it's so good.
Fantastic. You're was it Marie Kondoing the place? So that's
yes.
But yeah, again, it's like I think it's really important at times like this to not just let the beat of time just sort of pass on. It's like this shouldn't be viewed as a waste of time. It's a different time. It's a softening of time where, you know, I had to think twice. It's like, oh, it's today Wednesday. But there's lots that we can actually, you know, bring meaning and purpose to our life. So even when this, you know, isolation period is beyond us, and, you know, hopefully we've you know, got the vaccine or got something, a cure for COVID-19, we actually have upskilled ourselves. We've actually got something positive from it. Anyone else like to share any other project or any new skill or something? Yes, Adrian, would you like to unmute yourself, please?
You're right now.
Okay, thanks, John. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, but Nance has given me the opportunity to learn how to play Mahjong. And we have some great challenging matches, and it's done terrific good things for our relationship. And not only, but also we've been right through all our photographs and albums for the last 54 years, correlating, discarding, and putting things into a reasonable order so that our kids won't have a problem when the time comes down the track to determine what's good and what's not. So we've achieved that.
It's a real sense of achievement. So, you know, as I say, it's like, you know, this is a passage of time. So do we view it as a gift? Or, I mean, obviously I'm not talking about, you know, if you've actually, you know, been physically ill or a loved one has been physically ill, that does change things substantially. But, you know, do we view this time as a gift? Or do we, you know, just sort of like more of as a grievance? It's like, oh, I wish it could be, you know, that resistance. It's like, you know, always wishing that it wasn't this way. It's like, how can we embrace this time for what it is? And how can we actually, you know, count our blessings? How can we find the good? How can we find meaning and purpose? So, you know, whether it's baking a loaf of bread or, you know, reorganizing your, you know, cupboards or, you know, filing photos, whatever it is, these are the sorts of things that actually give you a bit of a dopamine rush. So when we talk about positivity resilience, we're talking about something that actually taps into your neuropsychology, you know, your neuroscience. It's evidence-based in that when you would have done that, Adrian or Grace or Liz, you would have got that little sort of fist pump in the air. It's like, yes, I've done this, like, you know, and that's that's basically signaling your body to release dopamine. So that's sort of why you actually get that feel-good emotion. So in terms of, if we're sort of thinking about this time and how we can get our daily dose of happiness. So when I talk about dose, I'm talking about dopamine, talking about oxytocin, talking about serotonin and endorphins. So I could bring in a prop, but I think she'd be a right nuisance. In terms of our oxytocin, so this is the love, hormone. This is what we get when we share intimacy. So even though I'm not in your physical presence, the fact that I can see your faces builds intimacy. If you are all blank screens just with your names, the level of oxytocin being released in my body and in your bodies wouldn't be nearly as much as it is now. And if you share a smile on the screen and everybody sort of absorbs that smile, we're also releasing oxytocin. Now, the reason why I mentioned I'm not going to bring in my prop is because 2 weeks ago we got a puppy because we were feeling we needed that dose of oxytocin. So oxytocin is actually released in many ways. It's through hugs, intimacy, with animals, with pets, or even, as I say, even on an online capacity, or even walking in the park and sharing a smile. It's that connection, it's that bonding. And especially during times like this, we need to make the extra effort to create opportunities where we do. Oh, look, I saw that, Stanley. That was lovely. I don't know if you saw that, but I saw some oxytocin in action. I saw a shared kiss. I don't know who else saw that. That was lovely. Thank you for your practical demonstration of oxytocin. I'm very grateful.
We're just celebrating the concrete.
So again, you can get that dopamine rush from, doing, a project and setting yourself a goal and achieving it. You can get your oxytocin, dose from connecting with people, that face-to-face contact, that I can see you is very sort of important for reading the mirror neurons, the brain, that's how the brain sort of, it's like if I was to yawn, you would all start to yawn. If I'm smiling, it's more likely to make you feel like smiling. So they're mirror neurons in action, and that's what we get from oxytocin. Serotonin is another one of these hormones, neurotransmitters, that is released. It's one of the main ingredients in antidepressants. So it's especially important to get our dose of serotonin if you are feeling a little bit low or a little bit flash. So before I was discussing gratitude. And gratitude practice is one of those things that actually signals serotonin. It's tuning into things that have gone well, or it's that sort of sense of significance, or even if I were to compliment you, that even taps into serotonin. And the other neurotransmitter is one of my favorites, although I suppose I shouldn't really have favorites, is endorphins. And I think that everybody here is probably familiar with endorphins, and you probably think, yes, you get endorphins from going for a jog or laughter. They're I suppose some of the more commonly known endorphin boosters, but we actually have a range of individual endorphin triggers, and only you knows what makes you really smile on the inside and on the outside. And endorphins are our body's endogenous morphine. So when you are really tapping into that endorphin flow, it's a similar effect to morphine in that it can actually help modulate pain. It can actually increase those feelings of well-being. So it's the sort of thing that you get when you're just really lost in the moment of doing something that you absolutely love, whether you sculpt, whether you baking a loaf of bread, whatever it is, you are in your happy space. And I'll give you the 5 basic categories of endorphins, and then perhaps I'll open it up to you and just for you to come up with perhaps what would be your number 1 endorphin trigger. But generally speaking, endorphins are released when you are connecting to people or pets that you love or make you feel good, a particular place, you know, your happy place. It could be somewhere that you've actually visited, or, you know, your living room, or it could actually be a particular scenic mountain that you have been wanting to go for. And it's like really connecting into that place and noticing how it makes you feel. It's about those peak life experiences, tuning in to those once in a lifetime things like, you know, getting married, or perhaps for other people, getting divorced. And really sort of connecting to those moments and connecting to other things like activities that you love doing. So either you're actually physically doing them, say, for example, skiing or cycling or whatever it is, or even just bringing to your mind's eye, doing that activity. If you really sense into it, you notice it, you pause it, and you let it sort of soak in, you're actually signaling that endorphin flow. And it also comes from even individual things like textures, scents, or sounds. So particular song that you like, or a particular scent. There was a study done in Denmark about vanilla scented candles and how they enhance people's well-being, because perhaps, you know, for some people, that's what makes them feel that, you know, all is well and all is good with their life. I know this might be a bit tricky because I know I've got my configuration. I don't know if my configuration is different to all of yours, but I thought perhaps we could go around and just sort of say one thing that really triggers our endorphins, one like our go-to endorphin trigger. Can we do that?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay. John, maybe you can say who's on.
Yeah, and fire them up. Yeah, okay.
John.
Where am I? I'll turn everybody's microphones on, but don't all talk at once. Okay, I'll just go. Well, Matthew's up front.
Matthew's still muted.
He's off. Wait a minute. Off you go, Matthew.
I guess it'd have to be Tyra. She triggers everything, pretty much.
No, it's down here.
Okay.
Liz. Oh, Liz.
Yes,
Hang
me.
on. Yeah, Liz.
Yep. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Mine is I go for a run every day to 3 different parks, and that's my endorphins. I just love it, having a good run. Thanks.
Fantastic.
Especially with that beach you're running along there behind you.
Yes.
Okay, Craig.
Yes, well, I got my endorphins going yesterday. I watched the 2012 AFL Grand Final where Sydney beat Hawthorn.
Football tragic.
Tragic.
Henry and Loretta.
I'm a bit the same. I love seeing North Melbourne win. I can't get a better kick out of it.
Here.
Okay, Loretta.
And I'm easy. I'm just happy with a few nice chocolates.
Okay. Jim.
Probably our dog Luca.
Okay.
He certainly puts a lot of joy into our lives, especially at the moment. He's having a lot of fun having 2 people at home all the time. He's tired
Lots of
every
walks.
night because he gets lots of walks.
Very good. Carol, what
Well,
makes you
I
happy?
have many, and I'd have to say gardening, but then I love Luca too.
Okay. Helen.
It's seeing Stan tonight.
Oh.
I'm sitting next to him.
I thought you might be missing Stan, Alan. You sit next to him every meeting when we have dinner.
Well, yeah, I do miss him a bit, but it's okay. When I walk my dog Hank, I come across a dog called Stanley, and I always have to laugh.
Fair enough. Okay, Adrian.
I noticed Alan frown when he saw Stan kiss Vicky.
That's enough, Jim. Adrian.
Yeah, I get a lot of. Oh, that was noisy. I get a lot of enjoyment out of playing a tricky golf shot that comes off.
Okay. Yeah, golf, good one. And Leon.
I've got an exercise bike on my back veranda, and I ride the bike half an hour once or twice a day.
Oh, very good. Richard.
Well, I don't know if it's endorphins so much, but I am enjoying the fact that I'm getting to know new computer programs that I've never come across before and using them to connect with people. I mean, I had a happy birthday yesterday in America, and I've got another one in Perth on Sunday, which would never have happened if it wasn't for this.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. I mean, we don't have to go out in a cold, bleak night like tonight to still see all our friends. That's right.
Well, it saves me 3 hours in traffic.
Yep. Okay. Stan and Vicky.
Mute.
Hang on.
Dougie.
Hang on. Okay. You're right.
Exercise is always a big thing for me, but through this, I'm determined to walk every day. I am walking every day, and it's going to be a challenge the next 2 days, but I'll be out there.
And Stan.
Yeah, I like swimming in the ocean, but it's getting pretty cold, right? That certainly gets my endorphins up.
Yeah. Just on Stan and Vicky are having some major house renovations done. That's what Jim was referring to. Their concrete slab got poured today, I believe. All went well?
Yeah.
Yes, it went down yesterday, actually, before the
rain.
Before the rain came today.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
it's
Good.
progressing well.
Good to hear. Nancy.
Oh, I would have to say, oh gosh, well, that's
Hang on.
I would have to say the cat, my pussy cat. Not much joy. He's just so beautiful. He plays and he does all sorts of funny things. We laugh at him all day. He's just gorgeous.
Okay. Carol, in the room next door.
That's Carolyn.
Carolyn, in the room next door, yes.
I'd have to say walking and exercise is my thing. Long walks along the beach. Yeah. And I see Vicky often on our walks.
Carol and I both been going for bike rides probably 3 times a week still.
Yeah.
And walking. Probably walking more than I usually do. But yeah, it's good fun. Jeremy.
Oh my goodness me, I was half asleep.
No, wake up.
Well, I'm spending more time with my cat.
Okay, good. And Joan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah, well, that was one of mine. I've been speaking to the grandchildren this evening, so they always get my endorphins up, and they're all sitting up there in the sunshine tonight, shorts on, out kayaking and doing all those lovely things. But I'm a bit like Vicky. I've started walking now that I can't get to the gym, and finding places around my area and even outside my area that I'd never seen before. So, you know, I hot-footed on the pavement and off I go and just discover a new place every day. So I'm enjoying that.
Very good, very good. And Stephen.
Mine is listening to my favourite eclectic mix of music.
Yep. Yeah, plenty of opportunity for that. Yep. Raylene, you can't say the dog.
Walking by any body of water in the sunshine always makes me feel really happy.
One. Mark and Leah.
Yeah, I'd concur with that. The beach, I mean, you know, where we live, and we chose it especially so we can look out our door and see the beach and connect. The sunshine's really important because we're both working from home, so you can become a bit locked in with your work. So getting outside and experiencing sunshine, and reiterating what Richard said about connecting with people. We've had quite a few Zoom meetings with kids that we ordinarily see much of, and so we've had Zoom meetings with them, and we recently had a couple of Zoom meetings with friends of ours in England that we never sort of odd comment through Facebook. Now we're Zooming them once a week and having long conversations. So we both love conversations. That's great as well.
Yeah, and I'm loving that Mark and I get to have a walk every lunchtime. We go out and it's great for my vitamin D, of course, but it's great for the two of us. We're actually working at home together and we're getting to spend this great time together. So we're actually enjoying the lockdown, which is probably a terrible thing to say for a lot of people, but we're actually enjoying working with each other and spending this time together. We didn't get a walk in the sunshine today, and we probably won't tomorrow. So Mark's plugged the treadmill in. So there's no excuse for us not to have a walk every day.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Do you want to go again, Grace, or are you right with the bread?
No, I like everyone else, we've been walking a lot. I got a Fitbit for my birthday, so try to clock up the miles or the steps. But I'm very fortunate that both our girls live in Middle Park, so we walk up to their place. Kids come out to the veranda, our grandchildren, and wave, and we have a chat. Not too close, obviously, but at least we get to see them.
Yeah. Very lucky.
Yeah.
Doug, your turn.
Yeah, well, mine is when I hear a piece of music that grabs me and it goes sort of right through me, and I drift away. Yeah.
What's your favourite bit of music?
Oh, I'm a fan of lots of things, but Il Divo, and some of the opera singers and some of those things. Certainly not the noise that you generally hear these days coming out of popular concerts and so forth.
Yeah.
No, it's the beautiful music that you hear that grabs you.
Yep. Okay. Good.
To each his own.
Okay. Have we lost Stella? Stella's disappeared.
Yeah, she's on a phone call in the other room.
Okay. David, your shot.
All right. Actually, I really want to frame this back as a question to Ros, because
No, you can't do that. No.
Mark and Leah, I was going to ask the question about sunshine and vitamin D, because the one thing, and has always been in the last month or so, is being able to get outside, go for the walk, get in the sunshine. And I have noticed a phenomenon which one ends up in a shop queue, whether it be for a coffee or the supermarket or anywhere else. People are now more prepared to talk to each other, total strangers, while standing in the queue, which didn't really happen before.
Yeah.
Is there an explanation for that, Ros? Amongst all this?
It's actually a really interesting observation. I think that there's that aspect of sort of common humanity. I think that compassion levels have sort of risen, quite a bit, because we realise we're all in this boat together, and I think there's something very powerful about that. So we know that we're standing in this queue, 1.5 meters, spaced, and everybody's doing it. This is an experience that we are all going through at the same time. So that sort of camaraderie, and I think that I don't know, that's sort of what comes to my mind when you say something like that. I think we're all feeling that sort of interconnectedness. We're feeling that interconnectedness. The fact that we have the physical sort of notion of interconnectedness, where we're much more mindful of our physical distancing, and if we sneeze or if we cough, but we also, are much more mindful of our relational, interconnectedness, and how, as a world, how we're all sort of, linked in some way, especially, and this virus has become a common denominator. But thank you for that. I wanted to just say, because I am mindful of the time, what I found really interesting about all of the things that you mentioned, firstly, is that there was a lot of diversity. I mean, there was a lot of walking, and that I can understand in this given time. You know, that's our sort of like, that's our big outing. But what I think it really, when we're sort of tuning into the things that sort of make our hearts sing, that make us feel good, that tune into our well-being, we're not tuning into the things, like if I would have phrased the question, like, name everything that you're feeling really stressed and bothered about. And then we would have all sort of like started to like feel weighed down by hearing more and more about this person's woes and that person's troubles. What the whole notion of actually tapping into and really paying attention to the things that make these endorphins flow is that you are actually signaling that sort of cue towards positivity, towards goodness, towards things that uplift you. And it's really important to appreciate that everybody has different endorphin triggers, and it's not just I asked you just for one thing, and perhaps if we had more time, or if we're doing this differently, I would have asked you to consider in a whole range of categories, different endorphin triggers that you have. And I think that it's really important to understand that, say for example, the weather's really bad tomorrow and you can't go out and get your vitamin sunshine, and you don't feel like going for a walk outside, that perhaps there are other things that you can do that actually make you feel good. So there's the music, for example, that Doug mentioned. There's so many things that we can do to really tune our attention and focus onto the things that make us feel good. And in so doing, we're not focusing on the things that aren't going as well in our day. So I've got no idea. It's 8 o'clock now, John. Do you want me to wrap up?
Oh, we might just finish off with a couple of others. I don't think anybody's got anywhere to go, have they?
No.
No. Okay. We'll just finish off with our other guests. And
John, I'm due in the kitchen in a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be very quick. Peter.
Yes, I communicate with my friends every day. I ring about 4 or 5 of them. They ring me. We play backgammon on the computer.
Yeah. Good. And Andrea. Hang on.
Sunshine for me.
Sunshine for Andrea.
Good luck tomorrow.
Chocolate.
And we've got
Liz will be right.
Is it Alicia Lake from the Caribbean has joined us. Alicia, are you still there? No answer. Okay. All right. Well, I think that has given me and probably a few others some good ideas to help raise our level of happiness over the remaining weeks or days or whatever it might be of this event. I know just reflecting a bit on what David said, when we're out bike riding and walking, during the week, it's busier than a weekend. So there's an awful lot of people out there. I think bike sales, I've read, have gone through the roof as well. So it's quite amazing what people have been doing. And as you say, when you walk around, just around the streets here, people give you a smile and say hello, which is very unusual and good.
I think that in relation to what you've said and in relation to what David said, is I think people are really craving social connection. We're just not getting our social connection in the way that we're used to. So when we're out, we're sort of reaching out in different ways. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And, laughter, for example, doesn't solve a problem, but it can dissolve it. And sharing a smile, you know, bridges that distance. So I think that, you know, in whether it's now or whether it's, you know, down the track, I think, you know, it's important to not only, you know, pay attention to, you know, what can give you your daily dose, your dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, but also how you can engage with other people, and know that, for example, even, you know, the humble smile, it's something that, you know, I'm very passionate about, is, you know, if you start your day with a smile on your face, that smile is going to set you up for a much better day than if you start your day with a grimace. And, you know, you leave your house with a grimace, then you share that grimace with that next person. It's like, if you can sort of, you know, think of something, you know, somehow, you know, place a heartfelt smile on your face and know that it's actually doing something to your physiology. It's not just something superficial, that you can not only change the way that you feel, but you can change how others feel. That's very powerful. If you'd like to, you know, please be in touch with me. I've actually just had a piece published in The Conversation, which is called Dad's Time to Shine Online, the healing powers of laughter and how it connects. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'm happy to share the link. I can email Liz or John or someone.
Yep.
Because it's also, the reason why I wanted to mention that is because there's about 5 different clips that are embedded into that article, and it's quite a laugh actually, and it might be something, you know, for you to enjoy yourself, but also to share with grandkids or other people. And I think that it's sort of highlighting that people are really, it's a natural response to, you know, humour is a natural response to this. It's like gives us some power over, you know, that powerlessness of you know, this huge virus, and laughter's also, it's how we choose to any particular external challenge. You know, do we sort of, you know, meet it in the face, you know, and sort of, you know, whether it's, you know, find some way to sort of find something funny about it, like, you know, making some joke, for example, about toilet rolls, if you're sort of thinking about a particular circumstance, or, you know, or whether we sort of just allow ourselves to become overwhelmed by, and let that situation sort of snowball us. It's like, how can we gain control? And by strengthening our inner resources, like, you know, gratitude and becoming more compassionate, and you know, learning to be able to sort of laugh, you know, at some adversity, it is a way of building resilience. It's a way of bouncing forward and not bouncing back. So just like to thank you all so much once again for inviting me. And Joan, I think that you were the initial, I recognise your face from tuning in the other week. So thank you so much. And I wish you well. And I just, as I say, just please, you know, just become, you know, more mindful of things that, you know, make you feel good, and prioritize them. Don't just sort of, you know, leave it to chance. Prioritize your own joy. It's not being self-indulgent. It's something that actually will make you a lot more resilient and give you, you know, greater well-being. So that's my thing. I look forward to
Thanks very much, Roz.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Big
Ross.
clap, round of applause. Yeah. Well, if you want to send through the those links, we've got a bulletin that we publish every Sunday.
Sure.
And we can put the links in there. This has been recorded, and that'll go on there as well. So those who couldn't be here tonight can still get to see us, which is something that we never used to do.
True.
So it's all good.
Thank you very
So,
much.
do you want to say anything, Liz? And
Yes, I'd just like to say on behalf of our club there, Roz, thank you ever so much for being our guest speaker this evening. It's been a great experience, but most of all, thank you for reminding us that we do have our own endorphin triggers, and we should remember to tap into those during this time. It's just so important, and if that makes us happy and gets us through this pandemic, well, that's just the best, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Roz. Thanks for being our guest speaker.
Oh, my absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Very good.
thanks everyone for tuning in to our special guest, Andrea and Stephen. Where is he?
Exit full screen.
Yep, Stephen.
There.
Alicia.
Alicia Bridges.
Alicia is there now.
Logged in with us. She's there.
Somewhere there.
Hello? Oh, no, we're back.
Oh, there.
Oh, what happened then? I
don't
haven't
know.
finished. You cut me off there, Matthew, did you?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, okay. Technical glitch. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and take care during the week. Keep smiling. Keep doing those things that make you happy.
Time's up.
Bye.
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 See you in a fortnight.